technical support is on its way to Palu. Also, from the nearest intact provincial city, Makassar, a military hospital ship departed last night and is on its way to Palu.
Okay, and Palu, you've been saying, is a major city, it's very accessible, but what about areas beyond that? How difficult is it to travel through the island?
The infrastructure level in the province around surrounding the areas is actually pretty good. It is quite connected with the roads. However, the issue is the quality of the roads. Now, as we know that the magnitude of the earthquake is pretty strong, so it has caused quite widespread damages on the roads. Now, we do know that emergency supplies are also being sent from Makassar on road, and as of now, they still haven't reached the areas in Palu and also the surrounding areas because of the bad roads. Another thing that we also need to note is a lot of what we do know is a lot of the casualties happen because of the earthquake, and this goes down again with the standard, what you call that, the safety standard of the buildings. We receive confirmed reports that there has been a widespread damages on buildings and houses, and that's because a lot of the buildings, a lot of the houses in Indonesia, they don't meet the standard safety, the international safety standard requirements.
And Tommy, there must be a lot of fear around there as aftershocks keep being felt. Where are people able to find shelter?
Makeshift shelters are now being erected across the cities and the affected areas. We've been seeing pictures of hospital patients camping out outside hospitals. The National Disaster Agency spokesperson indeed said that 4 major hospitals in Palu have been heavily damaged, and they are now treating hundreds of patients outside of their hospital compounds. So people right now, the majority of the 300,000 people citizens of Palu are mostly still staying outside of their houses and buildings, in makeshift camps.
Okay, Tommy, many thanks for that update there from Jakarta on the situation on Sulawesi Island. Winds have also caused massive power outages. Forecasters say the storm is now headed towards the mainland. Western Japan is already recovering after Typhoon Jebi tore through the area earlier this month. It was the strongest typhoon to hit Japan's mainland in over 25 years. US President Donald Trump has agreed to a limited FBI investigation of his Supreme Court nominee. The agreement came after a Senate committee made the probe a condition of its approval of Brett Kavanaugh. And that's delaying a vote by the full Senate, as Rosalind Jordan reports from Capitol Hill.
Demand to know what you're thinking.
Another day of political drama, intrigue, and emotion on Capitol Hill, all because of Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to become the next U.S. Supreme Court Justice.
She's telling the truth.
On Friday morning, 2 women who called themselves sexual assault survivors confronted Arizona Republican Jeff Flake, a swing vote on Kavanaugh. They called on Flake not to allow a man accused of sexual violence to sit on the Supreme Court. After that, Flake voted to send Kavanaugh's nomination to the full Senate, and he insisted the vote be delayed by a week so that the FBI could investigate several sexual assault charges against the nominee.
We ought to do what we can to make sure that we do all due diligence with a nomination this important.
Shockingly, the Republican Party leadership agreed. They had been stonewalling similar calls from Democrats and survivor groups. What may have helped? An apparent change of heart on Friday from U.S. President Donald Trump, who had also called such an investigation unnecessary.
I'm going to let the Senate handle that. They'll make their decisions, and they've been doing a good job and very professional.
The development comes at the end of a contentious hearing to recommend Kavanaugh's nomination, with demonstrators getting arrested and senators walking out in protest. The big argument: whether the Republican-controlled panel was taking seriously Christine Blasey Ford's allegation that Kavanaugh tried to rape her in 1982. Democrats said the panel was ignoring Blasey Ford because it wasn't demanding an FBI investigation.
when it came to these allegations, they wanted to cut off that process. And you have to ask why. You have to ask that.
But Republicans said Kavanaugh's previous FBI background checks never found any signs he sexually assaulted women, and so there was no need for a new investigation.
All I can say about Miss Ford, I feel sorry for her, and I do believe something happened to her, and I don't know when and where, but I don't believe it was Brett Kavanaugh.
Congressional Republicans and President Donald Trump say this new FBI investigation can only focus on what they call credible allegations. That's certain to set off a whole new round of arguments with congressional Democrats. What is certain, though, is that public pressure to find out whether Brett Kavanaugh ever assaulted any woman has yielded results, at least for now.
Now that Moscow would do everything possible to save the Iran nuclear deal.
We are observing an onslaught of belligerent revisionism against the modern system of international law. Attacks have been launched against the basic principles of the Middle East peace process, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action on the Iranian nuclear program, the commitments within the World Trade Organization framework, the Multilateral Climate Agreement, and many more. Baseless accusations of interference into internal affairs of certain countries are being made at the same time as overt endeavors to undermine and topple democratically elected governments.
Calvin Dark is president of CD Global Strategies, an international consulting firm. He says it's unlikely any damage to global relations by the US president will last.
Well, I do think it's a blip that if the proper course corrections are made, it won't be long term. First of all, I think that the way the United States has established itself in the world and the framework that's set up can't be undone by one U.S.